welcome to Retech, and today I'm going to talk about a computer that probably wasn't seen that much in the UK, but I'm guessing it was more common in parts of Europe such as Germany, etc. And that's a Commodore PC, and that's a Commodore 486 SX25, and it's one of Commodore's kind of last hurrahs, really. It was towards the end of Commodore as we knew it as a company, not too long before they went bankrupt in both the United States and the UK. Now, this machine was out at about 1993, and basically it was what most people would consider a clone PC. And it was kind of curious as to why Commodore really didn't push the PC route, really, to be honest, because it was a very, very lucrative end of the market, especially when you considered at the time there was machines such as Time and Tiny and Gateway and Dell and Compaq and HP and all of the others that were out at that time. So it was a market that was kind of open to be exploited, but they never really managed to do it, even with their initial kind of influx of PCs that they produced for the European and US market. Whether or not it was a price issue, I'm not sure, or whether it was just the fact that people weren't ready for some of the integration that they did on board on these machines, because they were one of the first companies to integrate what would normally have been separate cards and separate adapters for these machines, such as decent sound cards, decent video cards, IDE, serial and comms cards. Now, most of the Commodore machines basically had all of this integrated on the board a long time before it became the norm. So maybe that's what put traditional, in kind of quotes, PC buyers off. I'm not so sure, because I was kind of guessing it may be a little too late, and that was probably the whole thing. I think they kind of ran out of money at this point. But I've got this machine, and this is part of the box for it, and as you can see, it's a boxed unit. It's completely untouched, original kind of boxed unit, which has sat in somebody's loft for over 25 years, and it's only because they've decided to have a clear out ready to move that this machine's come back to light. So it'd be nice to have a look at it and see what it's all about. And also, this machine hasn't been powered on in over 25 years. So that's what we're going to do in this video, just to have a look at it the way it is, see if there's anything we need to fix or anything we need to do to it to get it up and running, and just to give an overview ready for any repair videos that we need to do. Maybe we need to do a repair video, maybe we don't. I don't know yet, because I have never physically powered this machine on. So we're going to do all of that in this video. So let's take a look. Right, so what do we have here? We have what looks like a kind of an original boxed monitor, really, and the big thing is that it's a Commodore monitor. Now, it might seem, not that remarkable to basically have a Commodore monitor, but this is a Commodore monitor from the PC era. So I think as we spin the box around, you can see that it's kind of probably seen better days. It's starting to kind of fall apart a little bit. I'm going to have to do something about that. It's a CVM 4967, so that's the complete cycle of the box. Now, there's one thing that you may or may not have noticed, is that the kind of Commodore sticker's wonky to start off with, which kind of says a lot for the company, really. And this was getting towards the end of its kind of era, really, to be honest. But it's kind of gives it away the fact that this is probably not a Commodore produced unit, and I think it was mainly, judging by the state of the label on the box, it was a bought-in unit. It was a unit that was bought in to go with something else. So let's grab the machine out of the box and take a look at it. Okay, so this is the back of the monitor. This, the said monitor, which is reporting to be a Commodore unit. If we have a good look around the unit, you'll probably realize that it's almost certainly been a manufactured unit for Commodore, just to stick their own label on. One of the biggest reasons is because if I give you a quick close-up of the label, okay, you can see it's actually peeling away. It's just a cardboard label, and there isn't a single thing on this that really says that it was produced and built by Commodore. I mean, it literally says it's a model number VGA 14S. Now, I've got a feeling if I have a quick look for that, it comes up as a kind of a MITAC monitor. Now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, maybe it's they've got very similar model numbers, but I'd be very surprised if this was manufactured by Commodore themselves. But we'll just have a quick look at it. First off, it's very well made. It's very decent plastic on it. It's nicely unyellowed, really. It's not massively yellow at all, and it looks very much of its era, and we'll cover the era in a bit with the second part of the kit that comes with this. But it's almost certainly quite a well constructed monitor. It's not the most expensive monitor. It's got pretty much a plastic shell, which is almost universal from the time of these monitors were around. And as I say, the peeling kind of cardboard badge on the top makes me think that because nothing else is embossed in it, you see all of this caution is embossed within the plastic itself, but the actual label with the so-called manufacturer on it, in this case it says Commodore, is a stuck-on label. So I still think these are manufactured elsewhere. So let's spin the monitor around. Right, so here's the front of the monitor, and it's quite funny because this is like a melted badge now on the front. If I show you another close-up of that. Okay, there's a close-up of the badge on the front, and the characters are dropping. It's quite funny. It's like it's melting under its own weight. Now let's hope it's not really like that with the monitor itself, but again, it's just stuck on almost paper badge. With it feels like it's been just cleared over a paper badge. So more and more kind of certain that this isn't a Commodore produced item. It's just a generic model which a lot of other clone PC manufacturers would have used at the time. So other than it's being very, very comical, it's a little dirty. It hasn't seemed to have faded much. Time hasn't been too cruel to this monitor. It's got a swivel base on it, which is quite nice for its time, and it's also tilt as well, but they're a little bit stiff at the moment. I think the plastics haven't had time to settle because it's been in storage for decades. This machine literally has been in a loft for decades. I haven't turned it on. I haven't done anything other than just pull it out of the box, which you've just seen me do. So I'm going to grab the other piece of the puzzle. Okay, so let's grab that and have a look. Okay, so we have another original box. It's obviously a Commodore product, well, in this box anyway, and the sticker on the front says it's a SX25, a 486 SX25, and it's been in storage not long after it was produced. The story was behind this. Basically, it was used for about a year and then left to kind of language in somebody's attic. So I think it would be nice to get it out and have a look at it and see what condition it's in. As I said, it hasn't been really anywhere for decades. So we'll pull the machine out of the box and then we'll have a look at it. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the machine and see exactly what's going on with it. So as you probably might guess, as if you know your PCs of the time, it's a 486 SX, so it's 25 megahertz 486. It's got 4 megabytes of RAM and it's got a 64 kilobyte ROM. It's a VGA graphics, or onboard graphics is VGA, which you probably kind of may have guessed by the type of monitor that we've just shown. And it's basically got onboard keyboard connection, mouse, parallel, COM1, COM2 VGA, and 5 ISA slots. It has a 32-bit processor on board as well. So we're going to have a look, because this machine looks like it's almost completely original, and I'm going to take the stuff out of the box a little bit at a time. Okay, so really what we have is a tray in the top of the box, which I will slide out, and we will just start to kind of empty the tray. So first up we have Windows 95, a nice genuine copy of Windows 95, followed by Office 97, a device driver disk for the Samsung CD-ROM, which is quite nice because you know, it saves me hunting around for a copy. The user guide for the CD-ROM, so I'm guessing this was probably in addition to the machine. It also has a Windows 95 OEM manual. It's been a while since I've seen an OEM version of Windows 95. A ubiquitous power cord, which is just here. It also comes with this, which is your Commodore user guide for Microsoft Works for Windows. So it looks like it came with a big suite of productivity software. And can you see the thickness and the depth of this manual? I mean, when was the last time anything came with such an in-depth manual? So rather than you having to Google everything and search up everything to try and find out how things work, you just pull out the manual off your shelf, go to the index, go to the page that you want to do some looking up of, or look up tables or how to do something, and it's all in there. I mean, look at it. When's the last time you saw anyone produce a manual like this? Okay, we also have the 486DX user guide, which kind of is your usual how to set the machine up, how to plug it in before you begin, all of the kind of usual stuff that you used to get. But again, it's quite an in-depth manual for that, because now you don't get anything. If you're lucky, you might get a folded piece of paper with some hieroglyphics on it, or various different languages of the same cartoon. So yeah, it's quite nice to actually have a decent manual. And then if you thought the works manual was comprehensive, take a look at this. This is your Commodore Microsoft Windows version 3.1. So it looks like it's been upgraded at some point. Look at that. This is what you call a manual on how to use Windows 3.1. That is just incredible. Look at it. I mean, it's over 600 pages. 600 pages in size. I mean, that is just incredible. Again, when have you saw anything modern going to such lengths to actually teach you how to use something? Okay, so it wasn't all productivity. Looks like there's some games somewhere installed on this machine. Grand Prix, Microprose, and again, they love their manuals. I mean, we forget. We just forget at how much time and effort went into manuals of the time. And to be honest, the early 90s wasn't that far away. Okay, yeah, there's probably a few games on here, including Lemmings, which is nice. And then also MS-DOS 6 upgrade. So obviously, again, there was a need to have a quite an in-depth manual, again, for MS-DOS. On the days of point and click or poke and prod, if you're running a tablet and a touchscreen, manuals like this, look at that. How about that for bedtime reading, just for one machine? Seemed like overkill. I mean, could you imagine the cost to produce those manuals? That's why, you know, they don't do it now, do they? Because it's all about cutting costs, and you can search it up on your phone and squint at your phone if you want anything or to know anything. And that's the way I think, you know, everyone's got used to. But there's something to be said about manuals and being able to just flick through something and reference something properly from the author of the software, not some hearsay on the internet. Right, so we're going to remove this cardboard box, and I'm going to try and keep it nice and original because it survived all of this time. So we're going to have a look at what else is in the box, so to speak. Okay, there's another standard kettle lead. And you can probably hear that it's maybe there's a bit of metal in there. It's not a plastic case, and it comes with this rather nice keyboard. It's not key switch, but it does weigh some. It is quite a hefty unit, and again, it's Commodore branded. It's actually got a Commodore part number on the back. I'll just show you. You might not be able to see it. So this may have been produced for Commodore properly. It's not an off-the-shelf unit, so that would be nice. And then a Commodore branded mouse, which has got a bit yellow under time. It was probably that colour originally, or a little bit closer to that colour, but actually it's not bad. It's not ABS either. I think it's not so sure. I think it's the same stuff that Toshiba used to make their laptops out of. We kind of nicknamed it Bakelite because it went kind of this colour and sort of got a little bit fragile, but I'm not sure what the plastic is actually, the type of plastic that is, but it's not ABS plastic. But again, it's not a bad little mouse. It's got quite a nice shape to it. Okay, so we're going to get the machine out of the box and we're going to pop it on the desk and then have a good look at it. Okay, so there's the machine out of the box, and do you know what? I don't think it's actually yellowed at all. Now, I do believe the CD-ROM drive's been taken out at some point, because obviously you had those booklets for the CD drive, but it still has its original floppy, original faceplate. Kind of think I'll get a CD-ROM drive and I'll pop it into here, which would be nice. But looking around the machine, we have the reset and turbo button. You have the lock on there, which is unlocked, which is good. And it says it's got a genuine Intel CPU inside. And other than it being a little bit dirty, it looks in remarkably good condition. So far, so good. And we've got a machine that looks like it's in decent condition. So we'll just turn it around and we'll find out what's going on with it and what's on the back of the machine. Okay, so on the back we have the usual power in and the pass-through for the monitor, which is nice. So you can power the monitor off of this power supply. Now, this machine's come with two standard power leads, so basically one for here and one for the monitor. So the pass-through I don't think was being used on this machine. I would rather, to be honest, not overstress the power supply, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to power off the monitor because I don't know the condition of that power supply without taking it apart. So on the back we have quite a strange setup when you think about it. We have an AT and a PS2, so we've got AT for the keyboard, PS2 for the mouse. Okay, then usual kind of selection of COM ports, parallel, and also your VGA. Then you got your sound card, and it looks like it's had an expansion card above on the top here, so probably joystick or something similar. I haven't had a look yet, but I need to take the back off. So overall it's quite a tidy and clean machine. And couple it with the keyboard, which does need a clean. It's only filthy, it's not faded. It's would come up with a really nice clean. So something we're going to do on and refurbish it later on and have a good look at it and see what we can do with it, adding CD-ROM drives, etc. if I want to. But it needs a bit of a clean, and the mouse is the worst. I don't think it was that colour originally, but you know, still got the Commodore logo, which is quite bright and blue, and I don't really want to lose it, so I've got to think of a way of bringing that back up to nice brightness. But you know, it's quite ergonomic, but it's very lightweight. It seems to be made of a blown plastic rather than an ABS molded, so I'm not so sure how much this would stand up to really going too far with trying to get it too bright. But we'll, you know, I'll have a look at it, see what I can do. But let's get this thing powered on. Okay, so let's try the monitor first, and we have a green light, and I can hear it charge, I can hear it work. There's no squealing coming from the gun, there's no buzzing from anywhere else inside. It's quite quiet. So let's try the PC next, and we have the hard drive sounds, which is good, and we'll see what it comes up with. At the moment we don't have a display, that's full of static. So I'm just going to check the cabling on the back because it might be a little loose. So as you can hear, it's quite loud, and we've got a few issues. We got can't see the hard drive, I can hear it, can't see the floppy drive. So that's a little bit worrying, but not, you know, not that bad. I'm guessing it's got an onboard IDE and an onboard floppy drive port, which might not be seeing these because this might have seized up sitting over time, and it's not spinning up properly, so it can't read it. It won't initialize it, and the hard drive is probably crashed at some point. You don't know if it's been knocked around, so let's see if we can get this going. Right, so I think 69 megabyte, I think it's just lost its configuration, so let's have a look. 1.44, yeah, 1.44. I'm guessing that this era it's going to have a 1.44 as a floppy drive, so let's just escape this and we'll go back into the standard config, see if it's remembered it. Yep. So escape F10, right to the back CMOS, yep, and then see if it reboots. It would be nice if it does, because it does sound quite healthy. Okay, keyboard error run setup, F1 to resume. So it's trying to boot from the floppy disk, so I think we have a few little issues with this machine itself. Yeah, it's not saving the config. So it's got a battery error on the board, which I'm going to have to sort out. Okay, so what it's doing is you can go into setup, and each time you reset the machine or it reboots, it loses its setup. So it looks like the CMOS battery is dead, which is not unsurprising. Also, if I turn the machine off and back on again, okay, you can hear the hard drive, it's not happy. It has a bit of a stutter on startup, so I'm kind of thinking it's sat in one position for far too long and the bearings have kind of settled into one place. So yeah, the hard drive needs to be replaced as well, so there's two jobs. So I'm going to take the back off and then have a quick look inside and see what I really need to get done to this machine to make it work. But in saying that, the screen is really bright, it's nice, it's pretty much centered. I can adjust it slightly, so I can just adjust it on the settings here, which is nice, and get it perfect, or just about there. And the little door still works, so that's good. So yeah, cosmetically it's not bad. Functionality wise for the monitor is not bad. Obviously the PC, the board works. The turbo button seems to work, it lights up, but I don't know if it's connected, so we'll have to have a look at that properly. And it just needs a good clean, but we need to solve the CMOS issue and the hard drive issue, which is something I'm going to do next. But I'm going to have a quick look inside the machine first to find out exactly what's going on with it. Okay, so let's slide the case off and have a good look at the machine. Okay, so we've got here by hand. Okay, we have quite a dusty machine. Okay, so we've got the SIMs here, and they're okay. All the cards look like they're in one piece and all present. Okay, it's got the SX processor and no coprocessor fitted, so we know it's something we could do at a later date. It has had a CD drive at some point, because there's the card and connector for it. So let's have a quick look under these wires. So we have the floppy drive is connected, there's power going to it. It's just all dusty, it needs a really good clean out. Okay, so all of the little pin connectors, pin headers on here for the turbo select and the reset are all in place. So it looks like it hasn't really been disturbed. I've had to literally undo it, so I'm going to have a look and see what we've got. So I think first things first, I'm going to take these cards out so I can have a good look under the board here and find out what's going on with this machine. And I need to find out where the battery is. Could be under the hard drive. So this machine's been upgraded quite a lot in its time, so I'm going to take the cards out, find out what's going on. Yeah, quick shot joystick ports. It's been used as a games machine, which is quite surprising, very surprising. Something that was bought and then sat around for 25 or so years. Right, okay, I'm going to take it apart and then I'm going to have a look and see what we can do with that battery. Okay, so first out, we'll turn the machine around. I'll take these cards out first, okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so we've just got quite a decent setup. So we've got an AMI BIOS there. That looks like the clock and battery, so that will need to be kind of sorted out. Most of the connections are on board, which is what Commodore was doing. Okay, so far we've had a look at this machine and it's absolutely awesome in parts and not so good in others. The awesome bit is that basically the monitor is bright, the plastics are really nice, the display is almost brand spanking new, it's so clear, and it's a great addition to anyone's collection just to use it as a standard VGA monitor. But this is a Commodore machine and it's hasn't been really used that much. The tube on it is crystal clear, the colors are vibrant. It's kind of as if it has just literally come out of its box today. Now, okay, this one's been used, it's dusty, but it's in fantastic condition. So this is a really good plus point. The rest of the machine, the keyboard is really nice, it's nice to use, it's got a nice tactile feel to it, it's white, it's not faded or yellowed, and it's in a fantastic condition. And that goes the same for the machine itself, the casings on the machine. It's all really good. There's nothing about this machine that should really be ringing any alarm bells. It hasn't majorly been tampered with. It's had a few kind of upgrades of the period, which is nice, but it does have a fault, and the biggest fault is the hard drive. We have a hard drive fault on this machine. Basically it's been too still for too long, and when it powers up it has a stutter to it, and that stutter continues. Also, the heads appear to have crashed as well. They're not doing what they should, even with the correct parameters straight off the manufacturer's website. This drive is reluctant to do anything, including formatting, reading, writing, checking, everything that you should normally expect a hard drive to do. This isn't doing it, though not massively unexpected considering the age of the machine. Now, the other point is that it has a real-time clock and CMOS module. Now, these are notorious for basically going wrong, and when they go wrong they lose all configuration because the machine can't hold any configuration either on a reset or power on and off, and that's what this is doing, or this is what it appears to be doing. Now, the only thing that I'm really not too sure of, and I can't check that until I actually replace the RTC unit, with a modern one, and one with a standard coin cell battery in it, rather than one of these rechargeable units which go wrong. So yeah, there's some really good points on this machine. Basically, it's going to need a bit of refurbishment, and it's quite a decent machine overall. I'm quite happy that I've managed to get hold of one, but it's going to take some time to get it up and running. And at the end of the day, it's, you know, how these things are, because they're getting old, and that's just the way it is. But hopefully I'm going to get this running very, very shortly, and we'll get it cleaned up, refurbished, and back to as close as possible as it was new, or how it came out of the factory. So I hope you join me on that next episode when we look at this machine, once I've gathered up the parts, etc., that I need to put it right with. And I hope you follow us putting this Commodore back to work, because I've got a few plans for this machine and to use it as well. So it's not going to be a machine that just gets used now and again, or probably just gets repaired and never used again, because of the condition of the machine and how bright everything is. It would be nice to use it, and it would be a shame to let it just kind of fade away into obscurity without it actually being used for even things like playing classic DOS games that were based around this 486 era. Okay, so that's the idea. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you soon, and we'll have this machine running very shortly. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon. Please subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.